King Arthur's legend has captivated imaginations, but 5th and 6th century British history is very different from romanticized tales of Camelot. Roman legions withdrew around 410 CE, leaving a fragmented landscape of competing kingdoms and crumbling infrastructure, creating a power vacuum. This historical period was characterized by constant warfare between native Britons and invading Anglo-Saxon settlers who were seeking new lands. Archaeological evidence reveals a society struggling to maintain Roman remnants while adapting to difficult circumstances and external pressures. The earliest reference to a historical Arthur is in the 9th century Historia Brittonum by Nennius, written 300 years later. Nennius describes Arthur not as a king, but as a dux bellorum, a war leader who fought against Saxon invaders. The Battle of Mount Badon, mentioned in early sources, might be a genuine historical event around 500 CE where Britons won. However, contemporary 6th century sources like the monk Gildas never mention Arthur by name, despite discussing the battle. Archaeology shows hillforts were reoccupied and refortified as defensive positions, suggesting organized military resistance occurred against invaders. Tintagel in Cornwall, later linked to Arthur's birth, was an important trading post, but no evidence connects it to Arthur. Warfare involved simple iron weapons, leather armor, and small cavalry units, not the plate armor seen in medieval romance. Britons practiced mixed Christianity and Celtic traditions. Society was tribal, not the feudal kingdoms described in later legends. The Round Table, Excalibur, and Camelot are medieval editions created by writers like Geoffrey of Monmouth 600 years later. DNA and linguistic studies suggest Anglo-Saxon settlement was gradual, involving integration and cultural exchange, as well as conflict. Roman Britain's collapsed economy meant most people returned to subsistence farming as trade networks were disrupted and literacy declined. Military leaders of this era commanded small warbands of 50 to 200 men, not the vast armies of romance. If a historical Arthur existed, he was likely one of several Romano-British chieftains preserving their culture against invaders. The legend grew through oral tradition, with each generation adding elements that reflected their own time's values and concerns. Medieval writers made Arthur an idealized Christian king because their patrons wanted historical legitimacy and cultural identity for themselves. Excavations at South Cadbury, once proposed as Camelot, revealed significant occupation, but nothing definitively linking it to Arthur. The reality of 5th and 6th century Britain was one of cultural transformation, as Romano-British identity gave way to Anglo-Saxons. Whatever truth inspired the legend became inseparable from myth through centuries of embellishment, making a real Arthur impossible to identify. The legend's enduring power lies not in historical accuracy, but its ability to represent universal themes like heroism and justice. Modern scholarship recognizes the Arthur question may never be answered, as the available evidence is too fragmentary to confirm him.